Breaking news from Jerusalem, Israel. Preparations for the third temple are accelerating at a breathtaking pace. Tonight we unveil exclusive blueprints and stunning 3D animations that bring the temple to life. Witness the grandeur, the intricate details, and a vision of the future of Jerusalem. We go behind the headlines to discover how the Levites are preparing for the third temple. Continue with us as we break down 20 essential points you need to know about this historic development towards the third temple in Jerusalem. Did you know the blueprints for the third temple in Jerusalem have already been made and released? The design for the third temple has been meticulously researched and drafted over decades as scholars pored over ancient Jewish texts, including the Torah and Talmud, to envision a structure faithful to the past. These blueprints indicate the third temple will incorporate elements and themes from Herod's temple, which was destroyed nearly 2 millennia ago, while incorporating modern touches like glass and steel, modern stairways, and an elevator. Looking at them, it's really interesting because it shows you that the third temple in Jerusalem is going to have a lot of similarities to the second temple, the temple that Jesus knew and visited. Imagine the majesty of the third temple rising in Israel. These renderings and 3D animations offer us a glimpse into a future of Jerusalem's third temple. So as we walk through the main entrance of the third temple in Jerusalem, gazing at the exterior, we see the golden windows leading to the priest chamber, and the grand entrance beckons towards the holy sanctuary. Stepping through the doorway, a wide hallway unfolds. Gleaming golden chains, as described in ancient Jewish texts, fall from the sky. A grand staircase ascends to higher levels. Above the entrance to the sanctuary, decorative crowns add a touch of holy splendor. Circling the sanctuary, we encounter the numerous chambers that will house priests. Turning left, we reach the heart of the temple, the holy sanctuary itself. Golden walls shimmering in the light, and high up, 2 small windows echo those described in Solomon's temple. A double curtain separates the Holy of Holies, embroidered with 2 cherubim. Within the holy sanctuary, the sacred implements stand proudly. The menorah, the table of showbread, and the golden altar hold their places of honor. The building materials used in the third temple of Jerusalem will include the stone of old, but with modern glass, marble, concrete, wood. Our exploration continues. We weave through the chambers and along the Messaba passageway before ascending the stairs to the roof, where we can fully encircle the temple. Going up the stairs to the highest point of the temple, we get to encircle the temple. This animation gives us a good idea of what the third temple in Jerusalem is going to look like. An interesting feature is the unique ladder used to access and maintain the upper levels. Here too, a curtain divides a chamber in 2. These temple blueprints give us a really interesting insight into what the third temple in Jerusalem is going to look like. It also shows us that preparations for the third Jewish temple in Jerusalem, Israel, are so far advanced. Everything is coming into place for the third temple in Jerusalem to be built. The plans for the third temple hold a surprising truth. It won't be a solitary structure, but a multifaceted complex. Imagine a network of courtyards and chambers, each with a distinct purpose and varying levels of access upon the Temple Mount. The supreme religious authority inside the third temple of Jerusalem will be the Sanhedrin. Within the temple complex, the Sanhedrin, their assembly hall currently in the development design phase, assemblies will serve as the heart of their operations. Envision a grand chamber echoing the chamber of hewn stones from Herod's temple. A central fountain establishes beauty, creating a serene atmosphere as the Sanhedrin enter their chamber. The Sanhedrin will gather in a circle at the center of the central assembly room, where the esteemed members will occupy designated seats around them. The stages of the development are really far ahead. A comprehensive library will also be housed within the complex. While the current plans for the Third Temple prioritize religious requirements, integrating them with 21st century practicalities is crucial. Considerations for electricity, plumbing, and heating systems will undoubtedly require adjustments to the initial design. You need to know why this menorah stands at the center of Jewish Jerusalem. Standing tall in the heart of Jerusalem's Jewish quarter is a unique menorah, not just a replica, but a meticulously crafted instrument built to exact biblical specifications. Its purpose? To illuminate the holy sanctuary once the Third Temple is erected. At the heart of the Jewish quarter in Jerusalem, you find this incredible golden menorah. This menorah isn't merely a decorative symbol, it embodies the fervent hope for the Jewish temple's return, and it will be placed inside the Third Temple, awaiting its rightful place. It stands as a powerful testament to Jewish faith and tradition.
The Temple Institute in Jerusalem is preparing to rebuild the temple, the Third Temple of Jerusalem, and here we have the menorah. It's worth about £2 million at the moment.
Imagine the moment the priests ascend the temple steps in Jerusalem's future, ready to kindle the flames within this sacred vessel, bathing the holy sanctuary in its radiant glow, as this prophecy is fulfilled for the first time in 2,000 years. And when the menorah was brought to this location, there was incredible celebration. For the first time in 2,000 years, the menorah had returned to Jerusalem. A vital element for service in the Third Temple awaits its destined wearer, the golden headplate, also called a crown. When you go inside the Temple Institute in the Jewish quarter of Jerusalem, you can see all these items that have been prepared for use in the Third Temple. They're not replicas, they're the real things planned, designed to be used in the Third Temple. This item has been meticulously made to biblical commands and is ready for use by the high priest in Jerusalem's future temple, inscribed with the words "Holy to Hashem," meaning holy to the name. It reflects the reverence Jews hold for God's name and their fear of him. This inscription corresponds to the directive from Exodus, which is translated into English saying, "Make a plate of pure gold and engrave on it as on a seal, holy to the Lord." Crafted and prepared, this headplate stands as a tangible symbol of the readiness for the temple's reconstruction. When the time comes, the high priest will be chosen, and this sacred adornment will find its rightful place on his forehead as he serves in the restored Temple of Jerusalem. It's a really shocking thing to think you can see the headplate that the high priest is going to use in the Third Temple of Jerusalem, but it is awaiting the high priest and the temple itself. The sign of the fox, a prophetic glimpse. Why did the sighting of a fox on the Temple Mount go viral? In the book of Lamentations, it talks about the sign of a fox. And in recent times, foxes have been seen on the Temple Mount again. And in Jewish thought and understanding, this is a prophetic sign that the temple is going to be rebuilt. In recent years, sightings of foxes on and around Jerusalem's Temple Mount have captivated many because of an ancient sign. For observant Jews, the sign of a fox carries a particular significance. The Talmud, a foundational Jewish text, recounts the story of 4 rabbis who witnessed a fox emerging from the former site of the Holy of Holies on the Temple Mount. While some rabbis wept at the sight, another rabbi saw it as a positive sign. He realized it fulfilled a prophecy that the temple would be destroyed and that the Temple Mount would become desolate. And if this prophecy came true, so too would be the prophecy of its rebuilding. When the foxes returned to the Temple Mount in modern times, it was seen as a harbinger of the Third Temple's return. The sign is noted in the Book of Lamentations, which refers to the desolation of the Temple Mount, with foxes walking about on it, and the promise of the temple's restoration. It is a prophetic sign. We are moving closer to the time when the Third Temple in Jerusalem will be rebuilt. When you walk inside the Temple Institute in Jerusalem's Jewish quarter, you may be tempted to think you are going inside a museum, but you're not. Every item within this area has been designed to be used in the Third Temple of Jerusalem. Through meticulous study of ancient texts, the intricate vessels for the temple service have been revived in preparation for the Third Temple. These remade items are not replicas for show in a museum. They're crafted to serve in the future Jewish temple in Jerusalem. Recreated by the Temple Institute in Jerusalem, they remain on show in the Jewish quarter as a prophetic reminder of the future of Israel. The Third Temple will require numerous sacred instruments, just like Solomon's and Herod's temples before, incense vessels, measuring cups, silver trumpets, harps, and much more. Remarkably, over 60 such kosher vessels have been recreated based upon historic descriptions, and they are resting, awaiting for the biblical prophecy to be fulfilled. Along with the smaller handheld items, larger temple items have also been reproduced ready for temple service, such as the showbread table and the altar of sacrifice. Twice daily in the future Third Temple, fragrant incense will fill the air as it's offered on this exact golden altar, and each morning 12 fresh loaves of bread symbolizing the 12 tribes of Israel will be presented on this showbread table. Let's remember, these are not museum pieces. They are designed to be used in the Third Temple. The reformed Levites, those who serve God in the temple, will be positioned at the temple gates in the future, standing ready with these actual instruments to herald the arrival of worshippers to the restored Jewish temple in Jerusalem, Israel. This great altar is also not a display item. This is the actual altar that has been designed to be portable, allowing it to be disassembled and reassembled on the Temple Mount for use in the Third Temple of Jerusalem. However, as the issue of resuming animal sacrifices remains a complex and sensitive issue requiring careful consideration, it has been made smaller and may reside under a canopy to avoid media strife. When the Third Temple in Jerusalem is built, you won't be able to see any of this stuff, but right now, if you go to the Temple Institute, you can see those things that have been prepared. They'll be sent off to the temple and you'll never be able to see them again. The Levites, known as the Kohanim, are the descendants of Aaron. They are tasked with temple service, and they are now actively preparing for their roles in the Third Temple. When you go around Jerusalem at the appropriate time, you will discover Levites fully dressed in their Levitical clothes, getting ready to practice temple service. Dressed in specially remade white cotton garments with intricate sashes, these Levite priests are now honing their skills through study, practice, and rituals. For them, the Third Temple is not something of imagination or hope. It is their future that they are preparing to serve in. The Kohanim are not quietly waiting for the Third Temple. They are actively actively getting prepared so everything is ready to resume Jewish temple service. The rituals they are practicing include the first fruit offering, the twin loaf offering, and the Passover offering. The Levites are practicing all the different ceremonies that are necessary for the temple. This is the first time in 2 millennia that such preparations have been undertaken. The high priest's attire was also delicately remade and is awaiting the man chosen to lead Israel back to temple service. The Temple Institute also safeguards a singular sacred breastplate adorned with 12 stones, each engraved with the name of a tribe of Israel. This special garment will adorn the high priest when the time comes for a temple service to resume. Everything is being prepared and the temple will rise again in fulfillment of biblical prophecy. The Levites are prepared, they are training, they are getting ready. The prophetic clock is ticking faster than before. Never in 2,000 years has so much come together in preparation for the resumption of temple service in Jerusalem. You won't believe how hard it was for this miracle to happen. Special oils, frankincense, myrrh, and the resin of the balm of Gilead are all required for service in the third temple, but garnering these for kosher service was almost impossible because the ancient sources have disappeared since the Jewish exile. But there was a problem. They didn't know where to source these items from because the original biblical sources had been destroyed 2,000 years ago. So a worldwide hunt was undertaken to find the plants needed, and they were smuggled back into Israel, these ancient botanical treasures. But would they grow again in Israel? No one was sure. However, against the odds, a miracle has brought these plants back to life, and Israel is blooming again. The Balm of Gilead farm, established near the Sea of Galilee, is dedicated to reviving the cultivation of these specialized plants for temple use. The resin, leaves and berries from plants on this farm can all be used in temple service. Thus, the bygone biblical tradition of sacred plant cultivation in Israel has been painstakingly resurrected, ensuring these precious ingredients will be available for the third temple's rituals, and the Levites will use Israel's new incense, myrrh, resin and frankincense in their ceremonies in the resurrected Jewish temple in Jerusalem. This is a real miracle that these plants have grown again and are producing the resin, the plants, the berries, everything that's going to be needed for the sacred temple ceremonies. Everything is coming together in a grand tapestry in preparation for the third temple. This ritual will shake the world. In the ancient Jewish temple, the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur, held a unique ritual involving 2 identical goats. As described in Leviticus, the priests would meticulously select these goats for service. The high priest would then cast lots, with one goat designated for a sin offering within the temple, and the other the scapegoat, destined to carry the sins of the nation into the wilderness. As Israel awaits the time to rebuild the Jewish temple in Jerusalem, preparations for the future include preparing animals for sacrifice and remaking the lots for identifying the 2 goats according to the ancient tradition. This ensures that when the time comes, the Yom Kippur ancient Jewish rituals can be observed as prescribed in scripture. Lots were cast to decide which goat would be sent out into the wilderness and which would be sacrificed. Now, the box that is going to be used to cast the lots for this important ritual has been remade now. Have you heard the whispers, the rumours of a pure red heifer and its importance as a sign of the coming temple? Are you ready to learn about the restored temple honey and oils, the reborn Levitical ceremonies, the third temple coin, and the location of the new temple and its role in the Battle of Armageddon? So there's another 10 incredible items for us to consider about the third temple in Jerusalem. So join us in the next episode as we continue to examine the preparations for the restored temple in Jerusalem.